Hi, Rich.
Jack? Jack? We're supposed to be filming!
Can you not see me, Rich?
Oh my God! Oh my, I couldn't see you. You're wearing a plaid shirt against a stripy background.
I get it.
I didn't even know you were in the room.
I get it. Yeah. Fashion choices, Rich.
Poor ones.
Poor.
Today we're here to talk about Nioh!
Nioh!
Nioh is the new Dark Souls game that wasn't made by From Software. It was made by Team Ninja.
It is one of the most blatant and unapologetic ripoffs of Dark Souls Bloodborne that I have come across since Dark Souls became a popular game.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's like Dark Souls. In the style, it's like Dark Souls. It's a lot of what you hear about Nioh.
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong with that inherently?
No.
Do you remember way back in the day? You might actually be too young for this, but I'm old enough. There was a period of like 5 or so years. It was an unusually long time where every game that came out after Doom was called a Doom clone. Right up until Half-Life 2, which is where that changed. But I clearly remember reading like an old like GameSpy magazine. Upcoming Doom clones is Prey and Half-Life.
The issue is it's not just game presentation, it's also very specific game mechanics. High level of difficulty, enemies respawn after you die or heal. You have some sort of souls that you can collect, and you can go back and recollect them if you die. Big boss battles.
Leveling up, upgrading your different stats.
A stamina meter and a health meter. Rolling away is very important. So it's not just in the presentation that this is like Dark Souls or Bloodborne. I'm gonna say it's straight up clone territory.
I don't know that it matters if you can do it as good or better. Then I don't give a damn who they're ripping off.
Yeah.
Do you remember like what would it even be called? Like Urban Champion on the NES, or do you remember Street Fighter? You don't care that Final Fight is a Double Dragon clone. Right. It does that as good or better?
Yeah.
That's the question. Does Nioh do Dark Souls as good or better than From Software? And while I will say I don't think Nioh is a terrible game. It's not a terrible game, but I think what we have here is a case of discount caviar.
Yes.
They ape the same style as the Dark Souls game. Yeah. It doesn't have the same level of polish to it.
It's value brand Bloodborne.
It's Sam's choice. it's the Sam's choice of Dark Souls games.
Absolutely. And that's really the long and short of it. The complete review in 30 seconds is good enough?
Maybe.
A lot of people will call this a Dark Souls clone, but I have more time in Bloodborne, so I am more comparing it to Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And so the parts of this game that I found myself really liking, I feel like I only liked because they came the closest to hitting that Bloodborne level. And those didn't even hit that close, you know? Mm-hmm. So.
From Software with less creativity. You play a From Software game and you will be amazed by just the look of the areas, the levels, the art direction of those games is just fucking beautiful. The settings are gorgeous, their trees are gorgeous, their twisted homes are gorgeous, their busted up stone walkways are gorgeous, and their fucking enemy designs, every fucking one is more creative and amazing than the last.
Everything in Bloodborne felt purposeful and meticulously crafted. Like, to break down your points more specifically, level design, world, atmosphere, if you will. That first, Yarman in Bloodborne was incredibly creepy and dripping with personality. Every window had a little extra flair to it. The enemies seemed to make sense, these zombified villagers, and that made sense with the world. And then you have your first level of Nioh, and you're in a dungeon castle.
With poor level design, because it's really, that first level is really confusing. Where the fuck am I? I'm turned around because everything looks the same, and you lose way. Which way did I come from? I don't know, because that hallway looks exactly like that hallway.
And then you say, oh, that's just the tutorial level.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit, because there is no tutorial level of Bloodborne. The game just starts. But okay, you know what? That's just a tutorial level. So then the first actual level of Nioh is a very nondescript.
You see the same building
village
over and over again. And it's not a very interesting looking building, is part of the problem.
And the enemies are just dudes.
Except for the ghosty looking glowy dudes, but they're still dudes.
Well, and so that's the next point, is enemy design. I want to say I'm currently probably about 20 hours into Nioh, and finally after 20 hours, I get a new enemy type. Mm-hmm. Other than that, you got dudes, you have kind of zombie-looking dudes, you have the devil things with the horns.
Neat looking, but standard.
A Cyclops. There's a Cyclops later on. That's it for 20 hours. Finally, way later on, you get a blob monster. That's what you get. You get a little blob monster. He shoots water at you. He's adorable. I came across exactly one thing that I thought was quite possibly the neatest thing.
Yeah.
Not in just this game, just it was so neat to see it. I'm in these caves. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking around for treasure to loot, and I come across a wall with eyes. And in typical Bloodborne fashion, if something has eyes, you need to kill it. So I started attacking it, right?
Yeah.
And it kicked my ass. Oh shit! And I saw the whole wall came out and started kicking my ass, and I saw some treasure behind it. Ooh, all right! I found a little secret or something. And as I die, every once in a while they'll have little hints as you die. And one of the little hints said, sometimes try bowing to creatures if they don't attack. It's yeah, and much like Bloodborne, it has the little nonverbal cues. And so I go back to the wall, and he doesn't attack me right away. He's just watching me. It's just a wall with eyes. So I flick through all of the little gestures, and I bow to him, and the wall bows back and opens up. It was the neatest idea to have a non-enemy choice in the game. The shit part is it never ever happened again. Happened exactly once, and I checked every single wall. I checked every single enemy.
You just started bowing to every wall you saw in the game.
Yep.
Somebody's hut.
I saw a basket. Oh, maybe I can bow to this pot.
They're looking at you like you're nuts.
We have to kill him. He's crazy. Again, comparing and contrasting to Bloodborne, because guess what? That's what they get.
You bring that on yourselves when you target the style of a developer who has become famous for making a specific type of game, and they're the only ones who have really been making that specific type of game for like the last decade, it's only fair to compare them to From Software when that's what they're trying to dick.
Okay, great. Bloodborne.
Yeah.
You start the game in Bloodborne, and we get a tiny little cutscene, and then the story there's no real story to Bloodborne.
Yeah.
You are a hunter, you hunt things, and you take in the story around you. The story is the world around you. You can find little scraps of paper, you can talk to some people, but the story is very ingrained in the world. Everything about like how you're fighting, who you're fighting, the fact that the villagers call you the beast. It's great.
It's thrown in your face like it was a game and not like it was a movie.
Then you got Nioh that just has fucking cutscenes.
This is more your pet peeve than mine.
This is important when it comes to a game like this.
Okay.
I want to be absorbed in the world. In Bloodborne, I could customize my hunter. It was me, right? I was the hunter. I was out there. In Nioh, you're just some guy. You can't, it's not you in the Nioh world. You're that guy, whatever his name is.
You're not even Nioh. You're some guy called William.
Yeah, right? I want to be me. I don't want to be some other guy. That was important to me.
You're some other guy in 98% of every game you've ever played. It's fine.
And
it's fine.
In some games, it's acceptable. In this type of game, that I want to be a part of the world.
I never complained that I was Lara Croft in Tomb Raider. I don't mind being a character in a game if it's a character I like. But that's the key. If it's a character I like, I'm willing to accept the argument that William isn't that interesting.
Okay.
I'm willing to accept that argument.
Okay. That's part of it, but also it's comparing and contrasting from Bloodborne.
Sure. Where you make your own, there's actually a character creator.
Right. You make your own character versus them saying, this is you, go now. Go do your thing. You're William.
I'm a little bit less concerned about that. That's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. William's not the worst.
He's milk toast. Milk toast is what he is.
I don't have time for this.
One thing later on really cinched it for me, as far as like what is wrong with this game. We're in a cutscene, and we're on a ship, and we're traveling to a faraway land.
Yeah.
And suddenly, this giant monster arises from the ocean, and it has like glowing eyes, and it's just this amorphous blob that rose from the ocean. And everybody on the ship starts to panic. This is during a cutscene. And we start panicking, and like I grab my controller. Oh, cutscene's gonna be over. It's fine, I'm gonna get to fight a big boss. And then they just say, well, we better be careful of him. And in the cutscene, they go away from him. You do get to fight that boss later on, but it's not a shock when you see it the second time.
Okay.
So, we see the cutscene with the giant monster, and then they go, well, let's go away from that monster and start over here. Then you have to go through a whole level, and at the end of that level, the giant monster comes back.
So the impact is lost, you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
In Bloodborne, you see a giant monster, gotta go right away. It's meaningful, it's impactful. One of the things that separates Nioh from Software games is stances.
Can I say it's a very awkward fucking way of changing stances?
Yes,
It's
you
like
can.
a one modifier button with one of the other buttons. And for something, you really just want to hit something quick to do it.
Yeah.
You don't want to think about it too hard.
Yeah, no, and then not only does that one button change your stances, but you also have to hold it down to switch your weapons. So there was no real like switching weapons on the fly, switching stances on the fly.
And why would you ever want to switch your weapon? Because they give you all of these weapons.
Yeah.
But the Kurikawa, the chain with a fucking hook on it is so much more effective than everything else. And specifically, not just that weapon, but that weapon in the high stance. That's all I needed. Why do I got a staff and a sword and two stuff? It's all garbage.
Yep. Oh, a hammer that does damage but is slow as shit? Fuck that. I got a chain. I'm so glad you came to that conclusion too. And every piece of gameplay footage that you guys are seeing came from me. And 90% of that gameplay footage is with the chain in high stance.
Yeah.
90% of it. I never change.
So all of that convoluted switch here, change the stance for the low stance to attack like this, and no, you just use the high stance on that because it's still got a quick attack. Even though like the high stance is supposed to be the slower, more deliberate attack. No, it's still quick, and it's even got the range.
Yeah.
It's got everything. When you hit them from range with it, like the high attack, the triangle attack.
Yeah.
They don't even have their guard up because it's got such range. It's like they're walking towards you with their guard down, and you're getting like free fucking hits as you're backing up.
Yeah.
It's garbage, and it's cheap.
And it works.
And it works, so you use it because the game's pretty difficult.
You get so many fucking weapons and armor pieces and charms, and you can spend a ton of time trying to find the right armor combination and seeing which weapon is incrementally better and selling off the ones you don't need.
It's inventory garbage. It becomes fucking tedious micromanagement garbage after a while because you've got 50 fucking gauntlets to sort through, about 80 sets of chest armor, you got about 90 boots, you only found about 20 different helmets, then you got like 48 swords, 29 axes, 13 Kusarigamas, 92 dual katanas, 42 staves, 98 charms, and you gotta like go through all of it to find out which one has the slightly incremental best stats. And it becomes a headache very quickly.
Very, very quickly. And it takes you out of the action. It takes you out of the world you're in.
Every time you find a new item, because you find all of these crap items, you find one piece of armor or sword or something about every 30 seconds. They get dropped. And then, oh, no, I gotta stop and go to the inventories. Does this have a blue number? Because the blue number means, but no, it doesn't, or it does, and I'll switch to that. Okay.
There's this one end boss, and she has a paralyzed power. And I tried going up against her a couple times, ran out of luck. So then I spent good 20, 30 minutes just in the inventory to make sure that all of my armor had the paralysis buff to make sure that I'm not paralyzed as long. So then you go through all the little stats to see which one has the slightly higher number.
And that's why that actually hurts the inventory system, because if it were as simple as finding the bigger number and then just selling everything else, that would be great. But you got to keep your eye out for the paralyzed stats. You got to keep your eye out for like your weight. Like, I could throw away some of these lighter ones that have worse stats. Oh, but I might want to have a better weight ratio at some point, so maybe I'll hold on to it. And then you just end up with an inventory that's 1,000 cluttered fucking items. It's a garbage system.
Yep.
Active reload.
Oh, that's another difference. Yeah, that's a big difference. So in Nioh, very similar to actually Gears of War.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it's called? The key
active reload.
Key pulse.
I don't remember what they call it. I don't remember what they call it in Nioh. I just call it the active reload because it's effectively what it is.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with Gears of War, when you reload a weapon, there's a little bar at the top of the screen. If you hit the button right when the bar is in the sweet spot, you get a little bit of bonus damage and whatnot on your gun.
Or reloads faster, yeah.
That's the mechanic they use, where like the stamina in this, you swing the sword bunch, and then you get this little like red bar and this little blue bar overtakes the red, and then if you wait until like it's all light blue and none of it's red, and you hit the button, you get your stamina instantly refilled.
Yeah.
Which, on paper, this sounds nice. In practice, it's constantly taking you out of the fight in a way that is thoroughly unpleasant.
Because what you want to do in fights like these, these are very challenging enemies. Any enemy can kill you. And so what you want to do is watch your enemy for them to telegraph their attack so you can dodge out of the way and attack them really quick. Dodge and attack, right? You want to watch your enemy. But what you end up doing is watching either the bar on top or the blue shit come close to you so you can reload your stamina so you can attack them, which means you always get hit.
It's taking your attention away not only from where it needs to be, if you're trying to stay alive, but from where you want it to be.
Yeah.
You're playing a brawling game. You want to be fighting the enemies, and I don't want to be taken out of that even briefly to do this stupid like rhythm mini game.
Just controls in general, it felt like I needed 3 more fingers just for everything that they wanted me to do in the game. Light attack, heavy attack, change your stance, refill your key meter, change your
Awkward weapon
weapons.
change. Awkward ranged weapon change.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Hold this button down for your ranged weapon. Then you have to shoot with this button,
Then
but you could also
awkwardly
zoom
aim
in.
with a thumb clunk.
Yeah, everything just felt wrong, and it's like the simplicity was already there. Just you, enemy, fight.
Especially considering Team Ninja's previous games, which once you got familiar with some of the combos, they were just fucking intuitive and quick and fluid. Oh god, Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2, they're like fucking liquid sex.
That makes me uncomfortable.
So what do we got? What else we got? What else is there to mention? Boss fights. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, some all right.
I got nothing on Bloodborne. I got nothing on Dark Souls. All right. All right, kid. It's kind of adequate. And I think ultimately that's my review of Nioh. It's kind of adequate.
Yeah.
Like we've shit on it a lot.
Yeah.
That's because we're comparing it to the thing it's aping, which is just fucking great.
Yeah.
It's coming nowhere close, but it's still better than a lot of shit you see. Or at least more adequate than a lot of shit you see, which this really, gaming lately has been lacking a lot of adequacy.
Wow, Rich, settle down with your praise. That's what I've been struggling with a lot is, I loved Bloodborne so much, and the DLC came out, and I loved that, and that gave it a little extra oomph for me. And I've been through a little bit of New Game Plus with Bloodborne, but it does lack a little bit of that oomph once you've experienced it.
Yeah.
And so I was really looking forward to Nioh because, if I can have the same kind of combat and the same kind of immersion, but with samurais and stuff, that could be really neat. And it didn't quite meet that level for me.
Because it's discount caviar. It's the less talented knockoff.
Yeah. It's Ringo. Why listen to Bruce Springsteen when you can listen to John Mellencamp? That's what this is. Huh? You like that? No?
It's okay.
Music joke?
It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay, I guess.
Why listen to the Beatles when there's Oasis?
Why listen to Biggie when you can listen to Snoop Dogg?
No, both of those are pretty good.
They're both pretty good?
Yeah, both are pretty good. It'd be like saying, you don't need to listen to Run the Jewels because Ja Rule just put out a new album.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Who cares about Tupac because we have Flo Rida.
Flo Rida?
Flo Rida, that's a real... It's like Florida, but Flo Rida.
That sounds like an infection you would get from a rusty water pipe.
He's just a rapper from Florida. Flo Rida. Flo Rida from Florida.